Hey guitar players, and welcome back to the Guitar in a Year Beginner to Intermediate. I'm your instructor, Korey Hicks, and today we are on week number 25. We're going to be halfway there after next week, so hopefully this has been a really good experience for you. For all those who are joining us new right now, make sure to go over to Patreon. That's where all the MP3s, that's where the book is, that's where all the play-alongs are, the charts, the chord files, the tab. All that good stuff is over on Patreon. And while you're at it, if this stuff's been helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. We're just about to hit 10,000 subscribers, so that's a wonderful thing. So I can't thank you all enough for your support. Well, in that intro today, we were playing some triads, kind of in probably a little bit of a different way than we did last week or the week before. But these sets of triads, this is on strings 2 through 4. So that would be the B string, the G string, and the D string. So I was playing here an A major triad, to an E major triad, an F sharp minor triad, and a D triad. And I was playing this kind of pad-esque type of thing in the background that you might have heard on anything from pop music to worship music. A lot of different types of music use this type of guitar playing. And what I was doing was kind of creating this cascade of triads up the neck. So we have these triads in a lot of different places on the guitar. So whether you're playing with another guitarist, whether it's an acoustic guitar player or maybe another electric guitar player that might be playing the bar chords down low, this is something that you can add in to kind of give depth to the song. And also you can get out of the range of the other players so you're not playing the exact same thing. So the process here for learning these triads is going to be very similar to what we did last week and the week before with the triads on strings 1 through 3. So we're going to start off with this A chord. Now there's a bunch of different ways to play this A chord. I'm playing it as one finger here. You can also play it with your 3 fingers together like this, although I don't prefer that method because the first finger kind of gets back a little too far and it might cause some buzz or intonation issues. You can play it like this, which is what most beginner books show you. However, I really like playing it with these 3 fingers. And there's a lot of different reasons for that, especially if you wanted to play a B chord up 2 frets in the key of E, okay? So that can be a real useful way to play that. But for today, we're just going to use 1 finger. We're going to make it really easy. Now, by this time, you've started to get really used to the self-transposing nature of the guitar. If that's an A major chord, that's a B flat major chord. That's a B chord, a C chord, and you're going to start seeing some of these chords show up again and again and again. So for example, this C major bar chord that we learned quite a while ago now has this triad we're looking for right here. So it's perfectly acceptable for you to use this as a reference point to get you this. Same thing is true when we get into the minor triads on this string as well. Same thing is true with this first A chord that I played. Although it may on the surface look like it's unfamiliar, it's actually the inside of our A major bar chord. Now one question might be, well, if it's the exact same thing, why wouldn't I just play the thing that I already know? Well, there's a lot of reasons for that. Number one, if you're already placing all your fingers in a bar chord shape, they're not going to be available for adding any sort of flourishes or ornamentation to the chord. Furthermore, the economy of motion when I'm moving to other chords in the key with similar triads is going to be necessary, and having this shape that's kind of bulky and big is going to make that a little bit more challenging, okay? So, same process that we're going to go through. We find our triad, in this case, is just going to be this A major. We figure out that this is E, A, and C sharp. Because the 5th of that chord is in the bass, that's going to mean that this is a second inversion. Going up here, I'm going to be having my A, C sharp, and E. That means that this is a root position chord. And finding the A note on the B string at the 10th fret, I am going to get this first inversion triad, which is going to be incredibly important. Whether you're playing double stops, or you want to find a little bit of your lead guitar lines later on, that triad is going to be incredibly important for us, okay? And so I find that triad just by finding my root of the chord that I want on my middle finger. You're going to go through the same process that you did before, where you're going to cycle 4 of these. There's a C, an F, B flat, E flat, A flat, D flat, F sharp, B, E, A, D, G. Okay? So every single one of these chords is going to be something that you can practice. And remember, like I said last week, this is going to take a couple of weeks for most of you to get through all of these chords. So take your time. This is one of those things that's going to be in your practicing set for a very long time, actually. So a big part of the intermediate course is going to be the scatter system, which is going to be scales, chords, arpeggios, triads, improvisation, and sight reading. And so this is going to be one of those things that you do practice every single day. All right, so let's just take one of those triads here. We'll take that fairly simple one here in the middle of the neck as an A triad. When I lower the third, so remember first, third, and fifth, I'm lowering that third, I'm going to get A minor. And so you can try that out with all of these other chords. That one should make a lot of sense, right? Come up here. The third is my C sharp. Make it a C. Let me get this shape, okay? So there's my A minor. And then to make it A diminished, I'm simply going to lower that fifth. Now I do have to refinger this, so major, minor, and diminished. I can go over here, major, minor, diminished. And I'm going to go all the way up here, major, minor, then I need to find my E note and make it E flat for diminished. Okay? We cycle 4 each one of those, and then we have all of the triads on our 2 through 4 string set. So one thing that you can do once you get going with this practicing is maybe you just stagger your days. Monday you do the top 3 strings, Tuesday you do the next set of strings, strings 2 through 4, and then you just kind of go back and forth. Eventually, once we get into major scales and all of our keys and doing everything diatonically, which means relating to the key, you would just play the triads for that particular key that day. We'll teach you all of that stuff this summer when we get into that. Today, and for these next couple of weeks with the triads, we're just trying to get familiar with them. We're just trying to memorize where the chord tones are. But I do want to show you that comping passage that I used at the very beginning of the lesson today. So let's just start off with our A chord here. And then I'm going to turn this into an E. Now that's very similar to that open E chord like this, okay? Now I'm only using strings 2, 3, and 4 though. So for this E chord, I'm playing middle finger on the 2nd fret for the E note. My first finger's on G sharp, it's major 3rd. And then I'm playing the open B string, which is the perfect 5th. So I have second inversion, A major triad, root position, E major triad. Next, I'm going to go to F sharp minor. So it's very similar to that E chord, just move it up 2 frets, or that A we were talking about, just putting it the 2nd fret. And then I'm just lowering the 3rd there. And here's a really cool thing about this set of triads. All you have to do is put down this middle finger, and now I get the D. So while this is a root position F sharp minor triad, this is going to be a first inversion D major. So let's take that again. And I encourage you to use hybrid picking for this, or you can arpeggiate it. What I'm doing is I am playing all of those strings at the same time. Sounds nice, right? And tone-wise, I'm just using the middle pickup combination, which is both pickups on my Telecaster. I'm running a little bit of reverb and an analog delay with a little bit of modulation on the repeats. Let's try to do that in the next set. So starting with A here, that's a root position, A major triad. Now I'm going to go to a first inversion E triad. So that's my ring finger at the 6th fret of the D string. That's the major third, G sharp. My first finger's on the B note, which is G string on the 4th fret. And my middle finger's playing the note E, our root, on the B string at the 5th fret. So we have next we're going to go up to the F sharp minor. If you think about what was happening with our E here, if that's an E major triad, that's an F major triad, here's a F sharp major triad, then I just lower the third. So it's kind of the same shape of chord, right? And so this is my F sharp minor. Now just like over here, we just added one finger to make it D. Same thing is true here. That middle note goes up, and I get a full D chord here. Very similar to this A here. So the second set in our comping would be play that again. We have one more set. We're going to take the same inversion, that first inversion, like our E chord. We're going to make that an A by finding an A underneath our first finger. Now we're going to find an E. Same thing as our A was here or our D was there. So here's my E. Now you remember our minor bar chord, like this F sharp minor? Well, that's that shape on the inside, okay? And that could be seen also as the same thing as that E that we just played. Remember, E major triad, there'd be an F triad, there'd be an F major triad, lower the third, F sharp minor. So we have A, E, F sharp minor, and then that bottom note, which was the C sharp, go up to the D. And we have our final chord. So that one would sound like this. Notice also this chord progression we're talking about is that same chord progression we did for Axis of Awesome, where there's tons of different songs out there that use these chords. And so this is very useful, and you're going to be able to use this in a lot of different songs. Let's play through all of them one more time. And for those of you playing on an electric guitar, you could take that first one and bring it up an octave. So this week I want you to add in triads on strings 2 through 4. Just start memorizing all of these different intervals. Take your time with them, maybe even use a chord progression like the one that I just showed you to kind of acclimate yourself to this idea. It's a lot of fun. It's a big part about playing guitar. Having these triads memorized in the fretboard is kind of a prerequisite to a lot of other things that are coming up in the course, and a lot of things that will make you an amazing intermediate level guitar player next year. Well, I hope you have a wonderful week. I will see you here again next Wednesday. Have a great day. Peace.